Yo, what's good, YouTube? This is Jay from TNJ, and welcome to the Offseason here after season number 3. We come into this offseason having our best record overall, and we got 71 wins this year, which is a high for us in this series. And our Bowie Bay Sox make it to the AA championship game, where Enrique Bradfield started out the game with a leadoff double, moved over to third. Then our minor league hitter of the year in season number 2, Ramon Elgato, got a base hit, a RBI. It goes into the 9th inning. That is the only run scored all game. Our AA Bay Sox end up winning the championship in AA, a big time feat here in this series. That at least shows you that the future of this team is bright. Now let's get to our end of the season awards, starting with minor leaguer of the year in the entire MLB, Edwin Gillette. Now, if you are wondering what the compensation is, he will get +3 in every statistical attribute. I don't even know if that's a thing. Every attribute. And he will also get +8 in potential. He had a 900 OPS, and just for context, he goes up to 80 overall and a high B potential. Look at this outfield that he's in the Seattle Mariners organization. We traded for Dom Thompson-Williams. It looked like they won't even skip a beat. I mean, their outfield is absolutely loaded. Jared Kelenic is even like the 5th outfielder or 6th outfielder. Steven Rodriguez will get minor league hitter of the year after hitting .357 at AAA. He actually was at AA for a lot of the year, at AAA for a little bit. And Jacob Ashley gets minor league pitcher of the year after posting a 1.98 ERA and a 1.05 whip after 15 quality starts in 17 total starts. Now, in the organization, our minor leaguer of the year is Enrique Bradfield. Now, for context, the minor league hitter and pitcher of the year in the entire MLB will get +5 in potential, then +2 in either offense or pitching. And then our minor leaguer of the year will get +5 in potential, and then a +2 all across the board. Our minor league hitter of the year is Brian Lacker. He will get that +5 and +1 in offensive attributes. And then Ty Macklin wins our minor league pitcher of the year, 1.20 whip, a 3.7 WAR, which is ridiculous here at the AA level. And he was an instrumental part in getting the Bay Sox the AA championship. He gets +1 in all of his pitching attributes and a +3 in potential. So, looking at the World Series here, the Blue Jays end up defeating the Padres. Vladimir Guerrero Jr. gets the MVP in the World Series. He will get a I think I will give him a +2 in all of his attributes just because he won the World Series MVP. Mike Trout won the MVP in the AL. He gets a +3 in all of his attributes. I mean, it's like he didn't even need it, though. And then in the NL, it was Julio Urias. He gets +3 as well. So I like to reward other teams, not just our team, based on the performance that they do give. So I want to make that clear. I'm not just favoring us. And going into the offseason, we have one Hall of Famer, that is Miguel Cabrera. What a career he had. So going into season number 5, we will change our uniforms quite a bit. We will add some piping to the away uniforms with the navy. Then we will go back to the whites and add the navy piping for the home jersey. I thought about doing pinstripes. Didn't want to be too much like the Yankees in their division. So now we hop into the actual offseason. All of our coaches still remain. We have not made the playoffs, obviously, but we are itching closer, but it's hard in the AL East. Eliezer Hernandez hits free agency. He's asking for about $9 million a year, and so is Abdul Herrera, but he's a little bit cheaper than he once was. He's looking for $4.8 million per year, which is actually affordable, but I'm not sure I want to retain him because I think we might have to move on and go with the young guys in the outfield. Billy Hamilton is a free agent. I'm not sure I'm thinking about re-signing him at all. I don't think he was a big instrumental part. He was a good boost, but obviously not like long-term or anything. Mike Minor, also a free agent. He went down quite a bit this year, but he was a good contributor. But knowing that we actually pitched well with him gives me hope for the young guys coming up. And then Yasmiro Petit, I'm not going to go after him since he is 39 years old and pretty much 40, and then 60 overall. Looking at what we're looking at in free agency, I think I'm going to be looking at outfield a little bit, not too much. I think we have some good pieces, and I think I want to stick with them. But in the middle infield, I think that's definitely where I want to kind of find a boost. But pitching is definitely what I'm going to be looking at. Since we're losing Eliezer Hernandez, since we're losing Mike Minor, I definitely need another starter. So here's our budget going into the offseason. We have about $18 million to spend. And here are the free agents: Walker Buehler, Juan Soto, Carlos Correa, Shane Bieber, Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burns. And looking at the Brewers pitching staff, every single one of their starters are hitting free agency. Every single one. So that includes Brandon Woodruff, Corbin Burns, Freddie Peralta, and also who you will see later in this episode, who we will go after. And it's just interesting. You know, a lot of teams are going into this rebuild phase after this season. You can just see there are a lot of free agents here, including Gleyber Torres from the Yankees, Chris Sale from the Red Sox. I mean, there are a lot of free agents to look at here. Pablo Lopez is one of those guys. He had a down year last year. He's asking for about $9 million. That would be within our budget. Max Fried is a free agent. He is 31 years old. He is an interesting lefty. You know, he's had a pretty good career. I think the last 2 years he's kind of declined a little bit. 2.4 WAR, down from 3.8. His FIP was only up a little bit, so that's not too worrisome. Looking in the outfield, we have some interesting outfielders out here. Billy Hamilton is in that group of center fielders. I'm definitely not interested in him. But Randall Grichuk is there. He's a decent hitter. Roman Quinn is a good defensive outfielder, and I want a good rotational outfielder, a guy that can come off the bench and hit well and really contribute that way. And here is Max Fried and what he is asking for, $18.1 million, and he wants a 5-year contract. That's what he's getting from the Atlanta Braves right now. Spencer Turnbull is there also. Eliezer is right in the middle of the pack. I thought that he would be a higher commodity, but with all these starting pitchers, it looks like guys aren't going after him. And then the last Brewers pitcher I was talking about earlier, Adrian Hauser, is here. And he is actually one of the guys that's forgotten in this rotation. He actually did not start as a starting pitcher last year. I think he had less than 10 starts. He had 3 quality starts in those outings. He's a decent pitcher. I want to go after him because he's only asking for about 7.7. I'm going to offer him about 6.2. So I'm wondering if we're going to be the only offer for him and then he will just commit to us. I guess we'll have to see. Yoan Moncada is here, and he has been a big disappointment in the MLB. At one point, remember, he was the #1 overall prospect in baseball. He has not lived up to that hype at all. JD Davis is there. He is probably one of the best third basemen available, but we don't need a third baseman, and he can't play any other position. Christian Arroyo can, though. He's a very good all-around infielder. So was Isaiah Kiner Falefa. Now, the interesting thing about him is that he kind of lost his spot in the Yankees infield, and he kind of moved to a bench role, but I still think he's a starter. He hit .311 in a full season, then hit .239, which was down bad, but in a bench role, he hit upper 280s. He's asking for about 7.1. I'm going to offer him that 6.5. So there it is. We offer $12 million to a couple of guys. We don't have that big of a budget to go after any of the big names. So I go ahead and evaluate those moves, though, and I kind of compare it. I'm like, well, we offered 2 contracts. We have $18 million to spend. Is this going to compete with the Yankees, with the Rays, with the Blue Jays? Look at the Rays. They have Randy Arozarena, Wander Franco, all these big name guys. The Red Sox are still good with Trevor Story, Xander Bogaerts, and now the up-and-coming Marcelo Mayer, and then the World Series champs now. They have Dylan Cruz, George Springer, and Kevin Biggio. They are straight loading up, even though they're maybe going to lose some contracts soon. So I rethink some things, and I really do think it over. I look at the top free agents. These guys have qualifying offers made, so if we go after them, we will have to give up a draft pick. The only guy we won't have to give up a draft pick for is Max Fried. Now, I like Max Fried a lot, but is he our top prospect here in free agency? I don't think so. It's Brandon Woodruff, a guy that I haven't talked about much, but looking at his stats, a .90 whip last year, a 108 whip the year before that, he has never had, out of the last 4 out of 5 years, a whip over 1. That is crazy ridiculous. He's asking for $20 million. We're going to go over our budget just a little bit. We're going to have to cut it down, but we offer him that contract. So we advance on. And I am anxious at this point. I am seeing all these offers from all these big time pitchers now. Everybody's lining up for them. Walker Buehler's got 5 offers, and he ends up committing to the Toronto Blue Jays. So the World Series champs don't lose anybody but gain Walker Buehler. Probably the worst news that probably could have happened in the offseason, that the World Series champs in our division get the best pitcher available. Carson Kelly goes to the White Sox, but then we find out some more devastating news. Brandon Woodruff did not show that he had more offers than just us, but all of a sudden the Yankees swoop in and snag him for $21 million. That's only $1.5 million more than what we were offering him, and we were offering him an extra year. I would have definitely paid that, but instead he gives us no warning and just goes to the Yankees. Other moves around the league. Diego Castillo goes to the Brewers, but the top story is we lose our best guy. And our backup plan, Max Fried, he resigns with the Atlanta Braves. And Adrian Hauser goes and re-signs with the Brewers. So I go back to free agency, and I need one of these guys. Pablo Lopez is here. I'm just not sold on Pablo Lopez. I'm just not. I don't know what it is. Maybe that down year is scaring me a little bit. I think that's probably what it is. There's some other guys here like Marco Gonzalez, who is 33. 125 whip last year. Not overly impressive. Nobody is really catching my eye here. So maybe I'm looking at the wrong position. Because remember, our pitching was not a high overall pitching staff, but we still finished 5th in ERA. So maybe the staff that we have, we can just kind of build around. Maybe we don't need the big name pitcher. I'm not exactly sure. We could always make a trade. I'm not sure right now. But I look into free agency, and a guy I really, really like in the infield, because we need to get on base more and hit the ball better, it's Willy Adames. Hitting free agency at age 29, he hit .286 last year with a .349 on base percentage. He slugged at .532. So he was a very, very good hitter. Historically, he's been a good hitter. He hit 33 home runs. We need another bat at the top of the lineup. I think that Adames is the answer here. He wants 12.1, which is within the $18 million budget, and we are going to offer him that contract. Shane Bieber goes to the Dodgers. It seems like the Dodgers sign a big free agent every single year. It is ridiculous at this point now. $33 million a year for him. Aaron Bummer goes to the Rockies, so they get a good relief pitcher. Jonathan Loaiziga goes to the Houston Astros on a 4-year, $47 million deal. Lucas Sims also goes to the Rockies. Pablo Lopez signs a pretty friendly deal at $9 million a year going to the Cubs. And then we get the news. Willy Adames will sign with the Nashville Stars. So we finally find our shortstop, and I have been debating whether or not to move forward with Tyler Black, with John Dumont, with Shea Whitcomb, and I think that's been settled now. It's now a competition at second base. Corbin Burns goes to the Twins. We were way out of his price range, or I guess under his price range. He went for $35 million to the Twins, so the Twins get a lot stronger. The AL is just ridiculous right now. Freddie Peralta ends up going to the Reds. I was debating going after Peralta, but his numbers weren't overly impressive. Yasmani Grandal keeps re-signing with these one-year deals. He signs with the Arizona Diamondbacks, so he moves on to a different organization, making still really good money. And now we move on to the Rule 5 draft, where there are a couple of options. Justin Dunn is here. He is 78 overall, beat potential, but I can't just trust overall ratings anymore. Like, we got to get guys that can really produce. And I look at Justin Dunn, there's probably a reason why he was not in the Reds rotation, especially seeing that the Reds were not that good. So this says something. This says a lot. He had a high whip. He was the only guy I was really considering here. He was intriguing, but I decided not to go after him. And we've lucked out in season number 1 when we got Austin Pruitt in the Rule 5 draft. He was our only Rule 5 draft pick that really panned out to do something. He ended up being an all-star after the Rule 5 draft. And then we kind of declined a little bit. We went after Monty Harrison. He was absolutely terrible. So I'm a little more apprehensive about selecting guys here. They have to be like a surefire good rotation piece. Willie Calhoun is probably the second most intriguing guy, but looking at his average, not very good. He hit 223 last year. If that was average was at about 260, 270, I probably would have selected him here, but I need a guy that's going to be reliable. There are some other guys, but they are very unproven. So I'm pretty much taking a risk here. Stephen Kwan should be rated a whole lot higher based on his production in the MLB. I'm probably going to raise that actually after this year. So we decide not to draft anybody in this Rule 5 draft, and that will be it. So we hit arbitration, and that is the only move we are going to make in free agency. We end up going after Willy Adames and trusting our young rotation. There is a possibility that after spring training, we make a trade early on in the season, much like, Chris Paddock got traded in real life. That could happen for us going to the Twins. I think that's something that could happen here, and I think that maybe that's on the books here, that we could make an early season trade. There are some decent free agents, but nobody that's really moving the needle. Yu Darvish is 38 years old now at 73 overall. He is decent, not great, but I think we're going to stick with our team here. Our offense is going to be good. Willy Adames sitting here at the leadoff spot versus right-handed pitching. Then Kerry Doss hitting second. I think that that's going to produce a lot of runs, especially since Kerry Doss can hit for base hits. It's going to be excellent, and I think that Devers is going to have a huge RBI year with those two ahead of him. Jesus Aguilar will be in that 4 spot. He is going into a contract year. If I would have signed Brandon Woodruff, Jesus Aguilar probably would have been traded because I would have needed to get rid of that contract. Dom Thompson-Williams will slide down to the 5 spot with Taylor Trammell hitting in left field. I think that right now he has earned that left field spot. And then John Dumont, I think this is his year to really show up. If he doesn't, I think he's just going to be a lifelong minor leaguer, or we might have to trade him and get some good value out of him. So Dom Thompson-Williams versus left-handed pitchers will hit in the leadoff spot, then Devers, Doss, and then Adames. So we will switch it up a little bit versus left-handed pitching. And then Shea Wickham will platoon with John Dumont. He hits excellent versus left-handed pitching. And then Kendrick Franklin Cole will be in left field. He's a guy that is in one of those not do or die years, but he's definitely got to prove his worth this year. I'm excited to see what he can do. Obviously, he's a good hitter. He just hasn't translated to the MLB yet. James Wood hit about 228 last year. Not a great average. 232 ended up being in the end. Not a great average. He started out hot, then cooled off quite a bit. I think maybe giving him some rotational pieces, maybe to give him some days off in center, will help him. Jorge Alfaro will start at catcher, but I will definitely have a competition between Zambrano and Alfaro because Zambrano actually hit for high average last year. Taylor Trammell is a very good piece to me. I think that he is finally figuring it out at the MLB level. We have some guys in spring training who are going to compete for bench spots. So we'll have to see. One of them is Colin Ozuna. I'm not exactly sure what Ozuna is. I think he just might be a bench player. We tried him as the starter in right field, remember, last year. Just didn't work out. Tyson King also was competing for an infield spot. He hit 215 when we tried him, but he will still compete. And then Enrique Bradfield Jr., who won Minor Leaguer of the Year. He's now at 73 overall after those boosts that he got, and he is excellent. If you're following college baseball, I believe right now he's 42 for 42 in stolen bases. Like, it's ridiculous. He is ridiculously fast and great at stealing bases. Looking at our rotation, I mean, it looks the same. Troy Quincy, Gaprelian, Leiter, Kohei Arihara, and then the number 5 spot is up for grabs. That is the big spot here that is up for grabs. I don't know who's going to be there. It could be via trade. It could be Ty Macklin. It could be Damian Houston, who you see here in the bullpen. I mean, there are a lot of guys that are coming up that are at least competing for this 5th spot in the rotation. I just don't think our number 1 overall draft pick, the number 1 overall draft pick in this series, I should say, is ready. I think he had a down year in AAA. I just don't think he's ready for the majors quite yet. So that's going to do it here in the offseason. Let me know what you guys think of those moves, and look at this right away, facing Brandon Woodruff. I mean, what a slap in the face this is. He signs with the Yankees. Less years, more money, but whatever. Hit subscribe, hit that like button, stay tuned. Let's get it. Let's go.
I like getting money, I got time to get it. Target on me, so my car's a tenant. Dancing with the devil, I don't bargain with it. Bobbing in the dash, and the stick is with it. And I hit the 4-5 on the west side. But I'm from the east side, this how we slide. This how we ride, yeah, this how we ride.